Hey, it's Jennifer Jones. Friends call me JJ. This platform is designed for a new leader that wants to become a great leader in the modern workplace. Over the last 15 years, I've learned valuable lessons that I want to share with you to get you there ASAP. When the leader gets better, we all get better. It's Monday again. Welcome to the Virtual Leadership Coffee Chat. If you don't already have it, go grab that cup of coffee, maybe that cup of tea. If it's a little late at night and you want a glass of wine, it's all right with me. You can always push pause. Let's go. All right, so welcome back. As a reminder, we are going on a journey that is basically taking the priorities that you've established and turning them into deliverables. Last week, we talked about the importance of problem identification, really defining the problem that you are looking for your employee to solve. The next area we're going to talk about today is what I call current conditions. It's really important, again, before you get started to tactics, because that's what we love to do. We love to do stuff. But before we even go there, it's important that we get started on what do we know today. You need to understand, like, remember, our example here is that we want our employee to grow the revenue of Mario Kart. Okay. Before they start thinking about advertising or before they start thinking about promotional campaigns to drive more awareness to this game, you want to understand, what do we know today? What do we know, for example, about the trends in the sales over the past couple of years? What do we know about our user base? What is happening right now? Have we spent time really understanding what people like about the game and what they don't like about the game? And then really, if we think about the fact that we want to grow revenue, this is a really important section that helps to give us all confidence that it's something that we can and should go do. Is there evidence that there are more users available for Mario Kart, right? If we had a tool that said, hey, we're at 95% of games are using Mario Kart, then is this really a problem that we need to solve? Are we focused on the right area? So how do we know that this is a problem or this is an opportunity for our business? And so as a leader, I often use this section to really challenge my employee to really dig deep into what do we know today. And here's the one thing I will say about this particular step in the plan. It may be a scenario where they're going to do a brain dump. They're going to share with you all the things that they know because it's their product line or they've been working on this project for a while. But this is a great opportunity for you to ask questions. Remember, early on, we talked about ask questions out of curiosity. This is a great opportunity for you to do that because you can now send that employee on an information gathering quest. So there might be more information that you want them to glean before we move forward to a plan. So again, this section is here. What do we know about the scenario today? I'll give you some quick areas where you can think about going and getting this information. If it's an opportunity for business growth or trends in the business, you never want to leave this section without really grounding your audience, because at some point this tool will be a part of your communication to a broader audience on the current state from a revenue perspective or from an output standpoint. You want to ground your audience on the metric that you're going to use to actually measure success, right? So in this scenario, because we're talking about revenue growth, we want to be clear on where is the revenue today. It's also the area that you want to begin to think about different insights that you want to glean that you might want to influence with your plan. So what do you know about, for example, in this case, the user group? What do you know about the penetration in the market? These are all important insights to glean so we can get grounded on the problem we're trying to solve and really what is the current state of the union. And that's really what I often call this is what's the state of the union? If you had to summarize today the state of this work that's tied to your priority, how would you articulate that to someone that actually isn't tied close to this business? Here's another reason why this section is of utmost importance. Remember, I talked about the fact that you're actually going to share this with folks that might not be directly tied to the plan or directly an owner of the plan, but they are a necessary part of the execution of key steps to have success in the plan. So in that scenario, oftentimes those folks are not not close enough to the work to really understand the nuances and the in and outs of what is happening. So this gives you an opportunity to ground those folks in the current conditions, and you won't have to spend a lot of time bringing people up to speed. It gets them up to speed and allows you to get to the next step, which is really important, which is what is the goal? Okay. So the next step that we go to, once we understand, hey, problem we want to solve, I want to grow revenue of Mario Kart. We understand where things are at today. Now we want to set a goal, right? So let's say, for example, Mario Kart, based on the data we have today, is in 50% of the users that have a Nintendo Switch. What is the goal? What is our next target condition? What would improvement look like as we look at the priority or the focus here? So in this scenario, you would be very specific. And I'm going to say that again, very specific about the performance you want to achieve. The worst thing you can do for your employees is you can set them out on a chase to accomplish a priority or to solve a problem, and you don't give them clarity of what success looks like. It's actually unfair because you're having someone chase something that is unknown, and they'll never know if they're winning or losing to make adjustments. So you have to be very specific. And if you are not there yet for you all to align on what the specific goal is, that tells me you've got more work to do in current conditions, right? And so if we can't align on, is it, I want to go from 50% to 60%, and we don't feel comfortable about that, there might be more information we want to glean. But in this next step, after you've aligned on current state, is what is the specific opportunity you want to accomplish? Now, one of the things that I would tell you here is that I often caution my folks to make those goals short and reachable. You don't want to set a goal that's like, I want you to grow to 75% in the next 2 years, right? What can they do in the next 3 months? What can they do in the next 6 months? Because then you can have active work against those goals and get them closer to success. Now, one of the things I often say about goals is that there is the big, hairy, audacious goal that is like makes you nervous to even think about it. So if Mario Kart was at 30% penetration day and we want to get to 100%, that might scare the life out of your employee. That might be the big, hairy, audacious goal. But what's the next step that gets us closer to that? So maybe it goes from 30% to 40%. And then what are the drivers there? But again, you want to be very specific here, okay, on the goals. Next week, I'll talk a little bit about how do you then understand where you really should focus as you think about getting closer to solving the problem and ultimately delivering on your priorities. We'll talk soon. Thanks.
Because